Hello, sisters. I've fallen in love with the man I'm married to for the past 7 years. No, I've fallen out of love, rather. I've fallen out of love with the man I've been married to for the past 7 years. Nothing about him moves me anymore because he kept abusing me emotionally. He doesn't do the little things that keeps lovers in love. I complained to him on several occasions, but he brushes it off, saying that those things are for people who are dating. He's not physically abusive, although we mostly end our conversations in verbal abuse. I told him I want us to end the relationship because he has made me fall out of love with him. He's apologizing, but I have really lost all the love that I have for him. We have 3 kids, and I can't raise them where there is no love. I want to be free, and I want to go. I'm just 27, and I'm being treated like an old woman. I just wanted to be happy. But if that's for people who are dating, then I guess it's time for me to leave. Help me make the right decision. All right. 27-year-old. She's been married for the past 7 years. Me, she married at 20.
Quite young.
That's interesting. And she has, 3 kids?
Wow.
Gail, would you want to weigh in on this first?
Wow.
Yeah, quite a place to be, huh?
You know, these days, I don't know how they see relationships. Like, should I say, my mom's time, it was like people put in the work. You know, when you're courting somebody, you actually courted the person. You paid attention, you earned the person's affection and all of that. But these days, it's like people just want to be married just for the sake of being married. I don't know if it's because of society or whatnot. So it's like the substance of the relationship is not there. It's just like we are married. You know, they are committed to the institution rather than to each other. So you can tell there's no proper communication here. I mean, like I always say, they're not listening to each other. She's trying to tell him I'm not happy, and he's saying, well, he said what those things are for those who are dating. But you never stop dating. Even when who says getting married has to change you? I don't know why people say I'm a married person. Wearing a ring, signing a paper shouldn't change who you are as a person or why you guys got together in the first place. I feel like getting married is just to make things official for me. So the things that you were doing whilst you were dating shouldn't change much. So when you tell her those things are for those dating, what does he mean by that? Like, what does he mean? And I mean, it's so sad because, and then she said something that he doesn't abuse me physically, but what? But it's the same.
It's still abuse.
The worst one is the verbal one because it puts you down and you think about what the person says, and then whatever he says that you take in, it will now show on you physically. And then she said something about him treating her like an old woman. I mean, listen to the words. It's depressing, you know, and especially having kids in that type of environment is so toxic. And I don't know if people understand what a marriage is or a relationship is. It's about building each other up, you know, positively. People should add on to who you are, not to take away. So if he seems to be okay in that environment, then there's something wrong somewhere. And I mean, from listening to everything, I don't think she needs to be there. She says she wants to get out, and I agree with her. I agree with her. Okay. It's not healthy at all. If they don't want to end things like immediately, at least there should be some kind of separation for maybe the man to really think, because I don't think he's thinking.
Right.
I don't know where his head is at. I don't think he's thinking. He's not paying attention to his family, you know. So, I mean, I agree with her. She should get out. She can have a separation.
Even though he's
first.
apologized?
Oh, my apology. You know what I mean? You see, apology means I'm sorry, I hear you, I made a mistake, I'm not doing it anymore, I'm going to make amends or do things better or try to understand you or try to compromise.
Right.
But you don't just say sorry and then just leave it there and the person is still not happy. I know, your partner is not equipped to be 100% responsible for your happiness and everything, but they shouldn't add, they shouldn't add negative things to you as a person. And that's what the guy is doing. I don't see anything positive in it, aside the fact that they have 3 kids.
Right.
But then if you don't raise them in a proper positive environment, then what's the point then?
Okay. So you still sticking to it.
So I think if it's apologized, then, like I always say, don't just say it, but show it. So that we can see the effect of the change. Let her feel that there's some change. And obviously she's not seeing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Livy.
Yeah. It's interesting how in one paragraph she says he's abusive, he's verbally abusive. And in the next paragraph she goes on about the fact that every conversation at the end of every conversation, it ends up being an abusive conversation. Right. So it means that it's not just him. While he's verbally abusing, she's also frustrated, and she's also verbally abusing. So in the other line, I don't know,
right.
She did mention that. Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's not just him, it takes 2 to tango.
Right.
You see, sometimes, relationship, marriage, they go through phases. Different kinds of phases. You start with lovey-dovey, kids come in, pressure. The guy's thinking about how to pay school fees. You're thinking about, you have to bathe all these kids. You have to help them through homework. Like, at which point in time do you have time for yourself to look beautiful? He's also thinking, Charlie, pay his calculation. Charlie, the pressure is on. So, Charlie, you ever dating into a chance? Like, let's forget about dating. Let's raise these kids. So you're both on different wavelengths. She has expectations of you, and he has expectations of you. Both of you have different expectations of each other, but you both don't want to compromise. I beg to differ with Gail. I don't think she should leave for now, because I think that it takes 2 to tango. Yes, she's not in love with him anymore. And it's, truth be told, in relationships or in marriages, you're not always in love. You're not always excited. You're not always over the moon. But what keeps both couples going is the love, the respect, the mutual understanding, the ability to both understand that you are in a particular space within a particular time, and it's a phase that will pass. But if the conversation is not had, I don't see how both of you can make it through. And I think what's also not helping is that you're both talking at each other. You're not listening to each other. He's not listening to your needs. You're not listening to his needs. How you guys need a common ground. The question is, did you guys ever have like a counselor before you got married? Clearly, you guys got married pretty early. You were 20 when you got married. I mean, I don't expect you to know everything at once. Neither do I. Neither do I expect your husband to. But you need a common ground. You need somebody who is not biased. Somebody who can get you both to understand each other. Maybe a counselor. Somebody that you both trust to sort of walk you through the phases. But the question is, are you both prepared to do the work? Where do you both see your relationship heading? And also to help. You see, sometimes you can nag all you want, you can complain, oh, I don't even feel sexy anymore, I don't even feel nice anymore. But the thing is, you look nice for who? For yourself. You should be able to look at yourself in the mirror. Don't wait for him. Get it all covered. The little that you can do to decide that, okay, today I want to look nice. I'm looking nice because I want to look nice for myself. Try and engage yourself in positive things that make you look attractive. Focus should not be on him. You're trying to get his attention, but you're not getting it. The question is, how else can you get his attention? Okay, is there anything else that you can do? For me, I think, right, that your situation is not unheard of. I don't think it's impossible to salvage. I still think that if you guys have at least 10% of love for each other, you can work towards it. And know that this is a time, this is a phase. Trust me, it will get to a point in time the kids will be all grown. And they'll be independent. I don't know how old they are right now, but they'll be independent. And depending on where you are at together, you can actually both work on this relationship, this marriage, and make it work. But it starts with you. What can you do as an individual to make yourself happy? Your happiness should not always be dependent on your partner.
Right.
Okay, so don't let that, do what you have to do. Make sure dinner is served, make sure things are done properly. You just do, don't nag too much, and think about ways to make yourself happy. Think about positive, because you see, positive vibes, they attract positive, you realize that there's something different about you. Depending, I don't know where your financial situation is at, you can actually decide to take your husband out, not necessarily for, depending on
that's a dating thing, right?
Yes.
But you said she's saying that
she's expecting him to do it. But the thing is, it doesn't always have to be him.
You have a point
because
there.
you're not getting his attention. What can you do? Listen, to wear this red hot lipstick, some nice dress, spray some perfume on yourself, and say,
that one there,
honey, babe. No, you can't.
The guy's mind.
Yeah, you have to start.
It's about making an effort.
If she even makes the effort, right? The guy is saying it's not for.
Has she tried? It almost sounds as though I'm expecting you to do everything. You don't give me money. You don't do this. You don't do this. But okay, chill. Chill for a minute.
What are you doing?
What are you also doing? Right. At least if you do something and he still rejects you, at least you have a point.
Yeah.
Do something. Take him out. You can even decide, let's go for a stroll in the area, so that you're not just home.
Right.
Because sometimes being in an environment where the kids are nagging, the kids are like, mommy, this. Let's take the kids over to grandma and grandpa somewhere. Have some alone time with just you and him. And sometimes the best time to get a man's attention is after sex. Because he's all calm. His nerves are all calm. And he's listening, baby. Honey, you just might want to try that. Try that. And let me know how it works.
Right. Savvy. You've heard both sides. It looks like the table is split today. I'm curious to know where you are going to go.
For me, I feel like the situation is about two people who don't know how to communicate. Two people that got married and not knowing how to communicate. Two people who got married having totally different ideas of what they thought their marriage was going to be. And nobody has spoken to the other about what those expectations are. And both parties are sitting there very disappointed in what it's turned out to be. I'm also in agreement of the fact that, so for me, when I was listening to this, it's a lot about he doesn't, he did this, I'm tired, I'm leaving. There's lack of self-awareness here, where I almost feel like she's expecting him to make her happy, him to change the situation. And the one thing that I know that people are incredibly uncomfortable about is to be vulnerable. And the situation that this woman is in is going to require her to be vulnerable. So she says that he apologized. That says to me he might feel bad about it, but he actually doesn't know how to fix it. Sometimes as people, especially when we are more self-aware, we literally have to be there for those people at the time. Create the space for a safe landing. This man doesn't know what he needs to do or how he needs to do it. And so it's unfortunate. I mean, it sucks. Sometimes in a place in a relationship, one person has to work harder than the other. It's not always the same. But the first thing I would say is bad habits need to be broken here. There's bad habits. She needs to start with herself. Before she's even marking all his wrongs, she needs to look at her blind spots and look at how she contributes to this relationship, positively and negatively. Think about what it is exactly she wants from her partner, and ask herself if the things that she wants for her partner, is she delivering it herself?
Right.
Thank
Is that something that she herself is able to give? You understand? There needs to be positive outcomes here. So if there's certain things she wants, has she thought about how she's going to get them? Has she tried to create a space for love? Has she planned dates ahead of time, mark them in the calendar, set a bedtime so they're both making time for sex and pillow talk? During the day, sending flirtatious messages, having a check-in with your husband at the end of the day or every Friday. How did you feel today? Temperature check. How are you feeling? Oh, I'm at a 60%. Okay, what would you need in order for you to be at an 80? So it's always positive affirmation, but there needs to be check-ins. And I think the first thing that needs to happen is she needs to ask herself some really difficult questions and also realize that the husband might not have the skills. For me personally, I don't necessarily think that this is a person who doesn't love her. I think that they communicate badly, and I think because they are both afraid, that's when the verbal abuse comes. That's their form of communication. They have not learned to talk. So what she says and what he hears are two different things. What he says and what she hears are two different things. They need a mediator.
Right.
But I don't think it's a lost cause.
Yeah. You know what jumps up? I mean, and I agree with both you and Sabby, but what jumps out at me is the fact that she felt the need to differentiate the kind of abuse that she's going through. Like she says, oh, it's not physical, but it's verbal. The brain can't actually differentiate between physical pain and emotional pain. Yeah, pain is pain. And so sometimes what you go through, even though it may be verbal, it's as bad, you know. And so I just wanted to point that out. But I also do think that all is not lost. You know, I feel like she needs to help bridge this gap. I feel like, and this is just a tone I'm picking from the message, that she's put a lot of the burden on the man to make things work. I could be totally wrong. But if that's what she's doing, then I'm saying, you know, try and get closer, bridge the gap, help him to help the relationship. If you have 3 kids, you know, and I'm not saying if you're genuinely unhappy or you're staying in an abusive marriage, you should stay there just because of the kids. That's not actually what I'm saying, but I'm saying that I think that they should also, like, the fact that you have them should make you want to work a little bit more, a little bit harder at making sure that the relationship works and thrives. So yeah, don't be in a hurry to leave. I think you should give it one last push, one last effort, one last chance. Have a chat with your husband. Let him know how you feel. Let him know. And like you said, you've already told him that you've fallen out of love. But as Livy was saying, you can find it again. You know, and it's a phase. I love the way how you put it. You know, it's a phase. It's like a wave. There are high points and there are low points. And so far as you are in the relationship and are staying committed to what you promised before God and man to do, I think you should just write it all out. Things could get better. But if after you try all this, it's still not going the way, you know, you expect it to, then maybe, just maybe, you consider separation for a while. Because sometimes you need to get out of that situation for people to start to appreciate you. So if you remove yourself from that equation, suddenly he realizes, oh, wait a minute.
Like I said, you make him think.
Know, it'll make him think, you know, my wife isn't here for this. She was, oh, boy, I've taken all these things for granted. And he may begin to sit up. So consider that. Let me bring in a couple of our viewers who are watching and who've sent in their comments. Kojo says, have you stopped showing him respect because he is not meeting your needs? You can only restore the relationship and get him to do what he denies you by words, by reinstating your sense of respect for him. This is difficult. When a man feels disrespected, he acts in an unloving manner. And you're also acting disrespectful because you feel unloved. Just communicate and acknowledge your mistakes and start doing the right things again. Respect and love, you say. Yao says, oh my God, dramatic telenovela vested women of the century. If he's not pampering you, you're out. Are you pampering him? Don't forget, the love goes both ways. The arguments and the verbal abuse goes both ways. Stop whining and start doing or practicing what you preach and see what happens. It has traces of some of the stuff we're talking about. Teresa says, if you're not working, get a job and get busy with yourself and the kids. Everything will fall in place. Divorce is not an option, I guess. As far as there's no cheating and beating there, please bring the love back. Why? And this is what I was saying.
Yeah.
Even if the abuse isn't physical.
I don't know why they keep saying that. Like,
it's still not okay.
It's not okay.
No,
it's still not okay. But people think that unless he puts his hand on you,
then that's no.
I'll move on. Afebia says, who's stopping you? Go and regret later. Someone will come and fit in there for you or living there for you. Love is a verb. It's an action. It's supposed to come from both sides. From your message, you've been arguing. This means you are also not submissive. Please be humble and appreciate him. He will show you all the love you need. Every man needs a respectful, submissive wife. So please be wise. AJ says, be patient and give him another chance. Emotional abuse hurts. And when you pull yourself out, you don't want to be with the person anymore, but he may have realized where he went wrong. So just give him a chance to work this out with you guys. Don't leave just yet. Mustafa says, for better or worse, I'm sure that was the marriage vow you took. You went into the marriage quite early. You must understand what you're going through is normal in every marriage. But aside you wanting to be treated as a queen and complaining about whether he isn't doing right, what have you done to make things better? Remember, it takes two to tango. And finally, Bernie says, please bear in mind that no man will marry a woman with 3 children. So if you decide to walk away, now just kiss the thing called marriage goodbye.
No, I disagree. I disagree.
Totally disagree.
I disagree. So, I mean, touch with what if her husband had died? And, like, I mean, does that mean that no one will marry her?
No.
Charlie, yeah, we all disagree. Thank you so much for watching Sister Sister on your favorite City TV. Now, don't forget, if you want some more exciting content, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We call it the City Tube. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications for fresh updates.
Sister Sister, every Friday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.